What's up, everybody? Chris Scott here. I'm with CJ Regina from Warriors of Wrestling. CJ, what is going on?
Not much. I'm doing this podcast at the moment.
Yes, you are. That's 100%. I really do thank you for your time. I'm very excited to learn more about your role at Warriors and everything that you've done, as well as your experience and how you got into the wrestling world. So, I brought you on because you're the advocate for Jose Salvador. You're a personal trainer. You're his interpreter as well. I couldn't get Jose booked on the show. Plus, doesn't speak the best English. But I'm hoping you can answer some questions for me.
All right. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Like, everybody, for some reason, everybody thinks I'm Jose Salvador. I don't know what that's all about. He's from Mexico, and I'm from Staten Island, and we don't speak the same language, and we look nothing alike. Like, you never see Jose's face, so, yeah, that's ignorance. It's just pure ignorance, man.
Gotcha. But you are an advocate for him.
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I'm the guy who always speaks on behalf of Jose. I'm always doing my best to help promote him on my Facebook and on my Instagram. I always try to retweet everything he does. He has a Twitter handle. I'll plug that later on. But
okay.
Yeah, I guess you could just always say I'm his Paul Heyman, if you want to put that.
Gotcha. Okay, so what was it about Jose Salvador that attracted you to him, that character? Like, what made you, get close with him?
I guess I just always see a lot of myself in Jose, because he's the kind of guy who a lot of people would not think could really do anything, because he's a small guy. He's probably about 150 pounds. Unlikeliest of wrestling superstars. So, and I've always felt like that's kind of like me, because I always felt like I was always a small fish in a big pond, that cliche saying. So, yeah, Jose and I just really had that in common, and we just connected with that, and we always had, these similar, dreams and goals of wanting to overcome that and wanting to just be something special, and hopefully to inspire people the same way guys like me and Jose have been inspired by other wrestling greats, like luchadors like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Daniel Bryan, those kind of guys. Personally, those who've inspired me, Jose takes a lot from Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, of course. He uses their signature maneuvers. So, yeah, there's always that. So I guess it's just that similar bond that really just brought us together.
Gotcha. You guys were hand in hand. It kind of worked out together. I gotcha. Well, as far as Jose Salvador, besides Warriors of Wrestling, could fans catch him anywhere else, or is it just at Warriors?
Trying to get Jose on some. I'm trying to help Jose get on some other shows, but he's competed at Pioneer Valley Pro Wrestling in Massachusetts. He worked at Sanctuary in Pennsylvania. Anything else? He's been around a couple of our shows. It's been kind of slow, but he's working to get there, looking to just try to get in touch with people. It doesn't help when you can't speak English very well, so...
Gotcha.
He's always telling people, hey, come to CJ Regina if you want to really know more and just figure anything out, work something out. So I'm kind of like that. I'm kind of like that agent in some sort of way. I'm
Gotcha.
the guy who's always got to handle everything.
Gotcha. Well, enough about Jose Salvador. Let's talk about CJ Regina, the wrestler and the trainer, for a bit. What was it that inspired you about becoming a wrestler?
I've loved professional wrestling ever since I was 8 years old. I can remember the very first time I ever watched any sort of wrestling show, and I know the exact date. June 16th, 2005 edition of SmackDown. The main event was John Bradshaw Layfield versus The Undertaker. And ever since then, that was my first introduction. I kept tuning into SmackDown every single week after that. Eventually, I started watching Monday Night Raw, and I started following the product more and more as it went on. And somewhere down the line, it just clicked with me. And I also remember this is when Rey Mysterio was really starting to get that major push.
That's when he was getting really hot.
The first Royal Rumble I ever saw was the one he won in 2006 when he lasted 62 minutes. And
it's one of the best Royal Rumble stories ever.
Absolutely, yeah. And And I remember that WrestleMania later on when he won the World Heavyweight Championship. I remember just being so excited, so proud of him, and just, you know,
So personally, it's one of my favorite WrestleMania matches ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt bad though because half their time got cut from what I heard. And if that was the case, it probably could have been better, but it was great for what they put on. Like, for 9 minutes, they really gave it their all. But with that being said, like, just that moment, Mysterio won the big one. That always inspired me. And somewhere down the line, we also got Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, which is one of my favorite WrestleManias of all time, solely for that reason, that Daniel Bryan story, how he overcame so much and just rose to the top, gave one of the greatest performances ever, and I've always kept that with me, just these moments, these memories that these wrestlers give, and I've always felt like, you know what, I want to do something like that. I want to inspire people the same way these guys have inspired me, and that's what always drove me to it. That's what drove me to it since I was a kid. As I got older, I realized more and more how badly I wanted this, and now I'm actually doing it, and I've yet to look back, and I see no signs of looking back.
That's awesome. How many of these type of interviews have you done, by the way?
Not a lot.
Not many? You handle it like a pro. You're going right in for it. You're not shy at all, which I love. Romano was the same way. Joey was the same way. I'm also going to be interviewing Scotty Priest, Jose Salvador's tag team partner. I know you're obviously close with Scotty. You're familiar with him.
Yep.
As far as him as a tag team partner for Jose, you guys were tag team champions before. Jose and Scotty were tag team. Jose and Scotty
You're doing it too. You're doing it too.
Jose and Scotty were tag team champions. I mean,
I can't escape it.
Jose and Scotty were tag team champions, and you and Jose, you're very close with him, obviously. So I'm sure you're close with Scotty as well.
I am.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Scotty and the relationship with Jose? Is he kind of like a mentor? Well, what is he specifically?
I guess in many ways, like, Scotty really did help a lot in giving Jose that sort of push. Because back when Jose first started showing up again at Warriors back in 2015, when he was just walking around the crowd holding up the sign, #book Jose, and the movement got stronger and stronger to the point where Jose started selling t-shirts for this. And somewhere down the line, Scotty and Dirtbag Dan, who was still with Warriors at the time, they picked Jose out of the crowd. I guess, like, they just saw him. They saw how badly he wanted to do this, and they tried their damnedest to help Jose get that opportunity. And from then on, like, everything just fell in the part from there. Like, Jose started following Scotty and Dirtbag around. He was there when they won the tag team titles. He was there during their whole ordeal with the Hostile Collective. Jose, of course, got into an ordeal. He got manipulated by the Clockwork Angel K-Trade, who was with Warriors at the time, but is now off doing some even more wonderful things, and she's a Pro Wrestling Magic women's champion right now, and God bless her. Rennie, I love you if you're watching this. Hope to see you soon. And but yeah, like, so in a way, I feel like Scotty has definitely played a big part in Jose's push, and has definitely, like, helped him get off the ground. Like, Scotty was his first tag team partner. He won the tag team titles with him. They've gotten so much better and better as a tag team, and the connection is definitely there, and I think that's what makes them such a formidable team.
Yeah, Jose and Scotty definitely have chemistry. You can see it. I call the matches. I see it. I get to broadcast them and do the play-by-play commentary. They're a good team, so it's always enjoyable to watch. Getting back to CJ Regina, the wrestler. Okay, so very highly influenced by that very first match, JBL and The Undertaker. Who would you say your favorite wrestler is of all time?
The Undertaker.
Undertaker, I had a feeling.
Yeah, I don't need to second guess that. Like, he was the first wrestler I ever knew about before I even started watching WWE. I remember sometime in summer of 2005, I was just getting out of third grade at the time, I went over to a friend's house, and he had us play SmackDown vs. Raw, and the character I always picked was The Undertaker. I had no idea who he was, but, you know, even in the video game, like, that character just always clicked with me. And when I turned on that episode of SmackDown, like, huge coincidence, Undertaker's the main event. So that was my first time seeing him wrestle, and ever since then, like, he's always been my all-time favorite. Like, still to this day, I know a lot of people have been critical of him lately, but by God, like, he is just amazing. I'm always excited to see him on. Like, just my childhood hero and still definitely my greatest inspiration.
It's kind of similar to how I got into wrestling. I didn't get into wrestling until like later on. I think like around 2006, actually. Right, this is right where Edge cashed in the Money in the Bank
On John
against
Cena.
Cena. It was the very first time the Money in the Bank was actually used.
Yeah.
It was at
New Year's Revolution.
New Year's Revolution. Was that what it was called? It was after the Elimination Chamber.
I remember watching that pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was after that. And Edge and Orton just formed Raid RKO. That was like the very first episode that I watched of Raw.
No, that was 2007.
Maybe 2007, so maybe like a year
no,
later.
Rated RKO formed late 2006, so this was after Money in the Bank. So.
Yeah, this was after Money in the Bank. This is when I got into it, but I started playing SmackDown vs. Raw, and the character that I chose for some reason was Edge, because he had the spear, and I thought it was really cool. So I was playing as Edge, and then I see an episode of Raw, and Edge is on the screen, and I was like, oh, this is my guy moving forward. And Edge had a great career. Unfortunately, got cut short because of the neck injury.
Yeah.
The actual very first match I ever saw was Rey Mysterio versus the Boogeyman. I'll never forget it. I was on a fishing trip in Florida near Lake Kissimmee. I was with my father, my uncle, my cousin. We were down there, and we couldn't find anything to watch on TV, but SmackDown was on. So I'm seeing Rey Mysterio, and of course, Boogeyman is putting the heat on him, right, beating him down a bit. But Mysterio comes back, and he wins. I think this is after he had his championship run, though. I feel like it was.
It probably was.
I feel like it was after he had his championship run, but still, Mysterio just phenomenal in-ring work, and he's still going today.
Yeah, and this is probably the best he's ever been, honestly. Like, he's in the best shape of his life. He's absolutely killing on SmackDown. His match with Andrade Cien Almas this past Tuesday, amazing. If anyone has not seen that, definitely go check it out. It was a great goddamn match. Man, Rey Mysterio is just... Rey's always been another great inspiration to me, and also to Jose. And you can see why. Like, Rey Mysterio really does embody that underdog story. And it's something that's just always stuck around. It's something everybody can identify with. He wasn't the hand-picked guy. He was never meant to be World Heavyweight Champion, and yet he's done it 3 times.
So how long have you been wrestling for now?
This past September marked 4 years. It was right after I got out of high school. I knew immediately somewhere down the line I wanted to start wrestling. And this is when Warriors of Wrestling opened up their training facility at the Fun Station USA, which is where they always have their shows. I was one of the very first people to sign up. And still to this day, I am the only one who signed up for year 1 and is still in that training center every single week. Not every single week, so sometimes I'll get sick, sometimes I'll be on vacation, but yeah, I rarely ever miss a week of training. So, yeah, that's how it all got started. I'm still going. I'm doing everything I can to hone my own craft. Hopefully, I can get some sort of character on a show sometime soon, but right now I'm perfectly fine with the position I'm in, getting to see all the action, getting to meet such wonderful people, getting to go on the road every once in a while, making these almost 4-hour trips. Like, yeah, I wouldn't trade any of that for anything, man.
Now, you've been there now for 4 years. You kind of have a veteran role, especially with a lot of new guys coming in. I had the interview with Chris Romano, the man Romano, yesterday, and he had some very great things to say about the young guys and Warriors, the new guys, the guys that have been there for maybe only a handful of years. Not the guys that are extremely experienced, but guys like Vinny Pacifico, Tony Booz, Chris Benet, that class of young Warriors, guys that are like in their 20s, young 20s, that group, even the women wrestlers as well, the women of Warriors. He had phenomenal things to say about the future of Warriors because of this group, and you're in that group. So, you may not be actually on the show, but you're part of that core group of Warriors. What do you do every single week to, prepare for, I wouldn't say pressure, but just to, getting to training and going through the matches and the shows, and like tell me about, this being a student. Being a student at Warriors and learning, what is it like in the very beginning compared to what it's like now?
Well, at the very beginning, we were lucky if we even got one handful of people every week. At best, we could probably get like maybe 5 or 6 people. Sometimes we would have days where nobody showed up at all. Other days we would just have one-on-one. But now, every single week, we are seeing more than a dozen people at least once a day. Like, some days are more than others, some days are less, but by God, it is just growing more and more. We're getting so many more people in there, and so many of them are moving on to great stuff. They're on the road just about every week. We have Vinny Pacifico, who just now had a match of Ring of Honor. Incredible.
He's wrestling with Future of Honor. I spoke with him. He's wrestled with Future of Honor.
Yes, he has. So, God bless that kid. We have Tony Booz, who is freaking killing it. He is probably improved faster than probably
crowd loves him.
Yeah, he's probably one of the fastest rising guys I've seen come out of that training center. We also have Jason Sinclair, who's had to go away to boot camp not too long ago, so I
haven't seen him in a while.
But by God, as soon as he got back in that ring, didn't miss a beat. He's in the best shape of his life. He is absolutely killing it. He has so much confidence. Chris Benet, who's with Logan Black now, they are just absolutely killing every tag team division that they're being on as the Apostles of Chaos. And we have so many younger guys and girls who are under the age of 18 who are coming in. They're just so hungry to learn. They are just so determined, and they are just so passionate. And I see so much of how I was at that age, and how much they love it, and how willing they are to learn. I really wish I was that fortunate to really start at such a young age. But at the same time, I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I needed to stay in school. Stay in school, kids. I cannot stress that enough. Get an education. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just seeing that passion every single week, and how eager they are, and how over as hell they are with the audience every week, especially Warriors. They've built such a strong connection with these people, and they always inspire me, honestly. Seeing the fire in their eyes, and how much heart they have for this business, it always rejuvenates my love and my passion for it, even at times when I feel I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this, but every single time I just get back into it after seeing them, after seeing the looks and the sound from the audience.
Hey man, I respect the hell out of that. So there's no thoughts in your mind now about stepping away from Warriors. You're fully into it.
Yeah, I have no plans for leaving Warriors, no. I feel like I kind of owe a debt to it, because Warriors is where I got my start. This is where I got trained. This is where I pretty much just started getting my first big opportunities. And I've had the opportunity to attend so many seminars under Warriors' names. I've got to learn under Jamie Noble, Dean Malenko, EC3. This past weekend, we learned from Tyson Kidd, who's a producer at WWE, and my God, it's just every single learning experience always not only makes me a better wrestler, but I feel like it makes me a better person. And I feel like everything that I could potentially accomplish, there's no telling what the future holds, but if I ever do achieve anything big in this business, I will owe it to Warriors of Wrestling, because never forget where you came from.
Let's talk about the specifics of what you've learned with your time at Warriors. Of course you're going to learn the basics of wrestling, how to be safe in the ring, how to work in the ring. What else besides that? Because you mentioned there was a couple other things that you learned besides just wrestling.
Yeah, well, we always have promo classes at least once a month. It's usually on Jake's learning days, and of course we have Neff and Andros the Greek all the time there, so they're always feeding us pointers. They're always trying to improve it themselves. So, what they do is every single week it's different, but basically they just want us to give about a promo, maybe less than a minute, maybe 30 seconds at best. Sometimes they will throw a curveball at us and say, you do it like this, you're talking to this person as this character, and you are going after this on this show. They're always looking to just get that story out. That's the most important thing about any promo. Get your story out, say who you are, what your motivation is, what you're doing, and how you're going to do it. And also, we always have cardio under Jake's on Thursdays, and a lot of times it can be brutal as hell, but by God, Jake is just pushing the limits, and he is getting everybody in such great in-ring shape. And he's probably pushing me in better shape than I ever thought I could be, always getting my cardio up. And there's always learning different styles. Like, there's the British style, there's the lucha style, there's Japanese style, there's all these different styles of wrestling, and it's important to know how to adapt to all that, because you never know who you're going to be in the ring with and what kind of style is, so it's always important to just keep up with it. Just keep going, just... So yeah, every week it's a different learning experience. Joe teaches on Tuesdays, Wednesdays are kind of up in the air, Thursdays is specifically for Jake. They're always teaching different ways, different styles, things, different ways of looking at their everything. Jake always likes to say different flavors of ice cream, and I agree with that. Everybody's going to have that preferred style, but it's important to be able to work outside your comfort zone and to be able to adapt to all these kind of different styles. And that's basically what it is. Like, it's always a big emphasis on conditioning, working in the ring, every once in a while get a promo in, and just building yourself as a competitor.
Okay, now you mentioned there was different styles of wrestling. You mentioned there was the Japanese style, and that makes me leading into my next question here. How many hours of wrestling do you think you watch during a week, and are there particular promotions you kind of gravitate towards more?
Well, I've been watching Lucha Underground frequently for a while. I record New Japan Pro Wrestling. There's a channel, but it airs at night, so I'm sleeping during that time. Every week, at best, I always try to watch Raw and SmackDown. I mean, I DVR SmackDown because I trade on Tuesday nights, and sometimes I might not make it home in time, so I'll just DVR it. I'll watch it when I get back and all that. I never miss an episode of Monday Night Raw, though. It's very rare when I miss that. So, at best, I'm always keeping up with WWE because, that's where I think every wrestler wants to be at, so it's important to know what they're doing, and it's great to study. And this past Sunday, we had a seminar with Tyson Kidd, and he gave us a lot of insight into what's going on behind the scenes, the locker room, how anything could just be cut in the middle of when you're in Gorilla, like right as you're about to go out there, they could just say, you're cut. Or, you can put together this big epic matchup that's WrestleMania caliber, but then they go out and say, you only got 4 minutes. And then you'll have those situations where you get more time because either something else got cut or you just got work to improvise. So I always think it's important to just keep up with the current product, watch as much as you can. There's a lot of other stuff I want to watch, but I might not always get to catch it. I'm always trying to catch Ring of Honor when it's on pay-per-view or Fight TV. Sometimes it just slides under my radar, or other times I'm just not around for that. But yeah, long story short, it's mainly WWE, and that's what I've always been watching. That's where I got my start in watching this, and every week I'm just going in there, keeping up with the product, whether or not it's good or bad. So
Gotcha.
everything has its strengths and flaws, but yeah, I guess the important thing to keep out of that is just keep up with whatever you can. Just at very best, just try to catch on TV, watch something on YouTube or Daily Motion, whatever the hell that website is. Just try keep up, man. Just watch what everybody else is doing. Pick up on this stuff. Learn from it. Watch it and just bring that out into whatever character or whatever match you plan on doing.
I went on the Chris Jericho cruise, just got back from that. A lot of Ring of Honor, New Japan, and Impact Wrestling guys all on that. The quality of wrestling that we saw, I thought, was fantastic. I also had really good seats or a good view of the entire action. And I've been to WWE shows. I've been to WWE live shows, and I've been to at the Garden, actually. I've been there, and I've also been to SmackDown or Raw. Actually, I've never been to a SmackDown show. I've been to Raw shows. I've been to pay-per-views. Joe Bellini actually brought up a very good point to me because I thought that I really enjoyed the Ring of Honor stuff. I think the quality of wrestling is really good there. For some wrestlers, I think they're very up top. Guys like Kenny Omega or New Japan. You got the Bullet Club, but you also have the Young Bucks, and I'm wearing the Bucks of Jericho, or is it Y2 Jackson shirt with Chris Jericho on the cruise. It was actually one of the pay-per-views for Ring of Honor. They had Chris Jericho and the Young Bucks go against Marty Scurll, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega. Yeah. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I gotta watch that, man.
Absolutely. It was fantastic stuff. You have to see it. It was really, really, really cool. But here's the point Joe brought up. When you're watching these guys on WWE for like Raw and SmackDown, and you look at the quality of matches compared to their pay-per-view matches, it's a lot different. In the pay-per-view matches, they could do a whole lot more because the schedule for WWE wrestlers is a lot more intense compared to guys like in New Japan or in Ring of Honor. The schedule is just, it's uncomparable. But you see like these really crazy moves in Ring of Honor, these really crazy indie moves, Canadian destroyers, and a bunch of sunset flips by big guys, not just little guys like Rey Mysterio. But you don't see it all the time in WWE because they got to be more they got to protect themselves more. They are the product. We got to keep them ready for the pay-per-views. We can't overdo it. So I thought that was a good point by Joe Bellini. As far as your perspective on the product of the wrestling world, do you see any sort of disruption in the norm by the Elite, the Bullet Club, the Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, that group? Because they're outside the WWE, they're getting a lot of attention. Is there any disruption of the norm? Are these guys worth watching since they're not in the WWE?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. These guys are worth watching. They're some of the most talented people in the world. I'm always kind of indifferent to how a Young Buck style is because they'll always throw like 10 super kicks and just that's supposed to be their big move. But that's just me. That's just me. I have nothing against them. They're phenomenally talented. They're making so much more money now than I currently am. So that's just me. I have nothing against them. But with that said, like, these kind of different styles and how they're going about things, like you said, they have more creative freedom because they're not a big family-friendly product like the WWE is. Like, they have probably more... I would say they probably have more freedom to take bigger risks. Like, WWE, like, they'll always have to, like, keep this, like, specific product. You know, they have to keep it family-friendly. They can't be too bloody. But...
Even though Becky Lynch got messed up the other day. That was an accident, though. That was yesterday.
Accidents happen, man. Like, no matter how, like, protective you try to be, like, you're always going to mess up. Tyson Kidd said it best. Like, they always mess up. But, yeah, with that said, like, Ring of Honor, like, that's what makes Ring of Honor so wonderful is that they are, because they have that creative freedom, because they are not bound to a specific product, that's what makes it work, and that's what makes so many people build a connection with them. That's why you see Bullet Club shirts everywhere you go, even if you're not at one of their shows. You'll see them on Lucha Underground TV. You'll see them at Combat Zone. You'll see them
on Raw. I've seen them. I've seen them in one on Raw. It's crazy.
Yeah, you can see them. No matter how badly they'll try to cut away from that, they're there.
Yeah.
And they've left a lasting impact, undoubtedly. People know who they are, and if any of them ever get signed to WWE, whether they show up in NXT or they jump straight to the main roster, get the AJ Styles treatment, people will know who they are, and by God, great things are going to come their way. I can easily see any one of these guys as main event stars in WWE. I can see the Young Bucks dominating the tag team division. I could see Marty Scurll, especially as a world champion. I could see Kenny Omega killing it as this big poster boy that AJ Styles has become in no less than 3 years. AJ Styles is one of the biggest names the company has. And he already had a big reputation before that, but now, under WWE, Styles is a household name everywhere. Kids now know who they is. And that's the biggest difference in WWE, is that they're a family-friendly product. Children know who they are. You'll always see a kid walking around with a John Cena shirt, or a Roman Reigns vest, or Sasha Banks sunglasses, or the Becky Lynch goggles. And that's the big thing about WWE. Like, they are a much bigger brand. They are worldwide. Everybody knows who they are. every wrestling division knows who they are. They're taking things from them. You can say they're probably taking what they are and actually expanding on it, maybe in many respects making it better. But at the end of the day, the WWE is the biggest in the entire world. There's never been any other company that's gotten this big. The closest was WCW, but under the leadership of Vince Russo, they killed themselves. And of course, when you got guys like Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash and pretty much the whole NWO running things backstage and just doing whatever they can, just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what works. But yeah, just hopefully nobody ever does that again. And I think that's
I feel like Impact Wrestling had a beacon of hope, a very small increment of hope of challenging them. But then they brought in Hulk Hogan and all these old dudes.
They could have. They definitely could have.
They were on Spike TV. They were on television. And I had a reasonable time. But then they decided to challenge Raw, and they brought in these old dudes, and it's just...
Yeah, I remember they tried moving Impact to Monday nights.
No shot.
And, less than a month, they're back on Thursday nights because nobody else is
now they're not TNA, now they're Impact.
Yeah, Yeah, you're right. I feel like they could have been that big because they got Kurt Angle and Sting and Hulk Hogan and Jeff Jarrett, but yeah, just under the worst possible creative direction you can go under, they sunk themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel bad saying that, but it's true. When you don't have the right people in control, it ain't gonna work. You can have the best talented roster ever. You can have these incredible names. You just gotta get the right people for the job, and that's what killed WCW. That's what was killing Impact for a while. A year ago, I probably would have been saying, they're done. They're gonna be finished, but God bless them, they're still going. They're still trying to keep it strong. They have great talent down there, and I do hope things work out. I'm not gonna be that kind of person that just swears, death on some sort of product. I used to be that kind of person, but I'm not that anymore, but yeah, the wrestling business right now, just as a whole, there's so many great things you can be watching. There's so many fantastic writers. And what I like about this is, if you don't like the WWE product, fine. You can go watch Lucha Underground. You can go watch Ring of Honor. You can go watch New Japan. You have so much variety now. You don't have to just stick to the WWE. And I can understand a lot of people not getting on board with their product, but what are you going to do? Just complain about it? You're going to be like the lunatics that just go ape shit when Roman Reigns wins the WWE title, and you're gonna get the hashtag cancel WWE Network on the internet. Well, if you don't like it so much, then why are you watching it? That's just really what I say. You have so much you can go to, so don't waste all your time just complaining about one specific product. If it's not you, it's not you. Let other people enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I used to be that kind of person, but yeah, at the end of the day, I don't care what people are doing. As long as you're watching wrestling and you're enjoying it, that's all I care about.
What are some of the wrestlers that are around today? And they could be all in WWE. I don't care. It could be anywhere else. But I'd say, let's go with maybe a top 5, or if you can't think of 5 at the top of your head, just the top guys that you think are around today that you that you enjoy watching, no matter what. Whoever they're up against, you just enjoy their match.
Well, number 1, I can easily say Becky Lynch.
Oh, she's on fire.
Yeah, she is fantastic.
She's on fire now.
Yeah, I've been repping her ever since NXT. I'm so glad she's got the momentum that she's going at, and she's on top of the world. She's the champion. She's probably the most over wrestler in any company right now. Everybody's talking about her. She's that
1,000%.
Yeah, she has that mood of that vibe of just old school 1990s badass, like Stone Cold Steve Austin or American Badass Undertaker, or Randy Orton. You're not gonna boo her. She is just so goddamn good at everything she does. I cannot praise her enough. She is just fantastic. Other one, Randy Orton. I just love
Randy Orton. Really? Okay.
Yeah, I just love how well and how great of an arrogant heel he can be. He is just so good. I love how he works heat with people. Whenever I'm working here on someone, I always take it from him. It's very slow, very methodical. Put all your effort into one strike, stall a little more, just take your sweet time in just beating the guy up, but also taking in the reactions from the audience. Randy Orton, to me, is just one of those guys that can wrestle a great match out of a paper bag.
Heel Orton is a lot of fun to watch. I agree with you there. Face Orton's weird. It's very weird, but heel Orton, that's the guy.
I mean, he could be a good babyface. I'll give him that. But honestly, Randy Orton's just that kind of guy. It's like I can't really see him as a face. Like he just really has that like.
He's been at his best when he's been a heel.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
I think. But like you mentioned him even today, even though he's had such a long career. Do you think he's like slowed down at all?
No.
Do you like him now more than in the past?
No, my opinion really hasn't changed that much, honestly. Like right now, he's only 38, so he's got plenty of good years to go. Like,
but I feel like he's so much different than than the heel that he was when he was in that WrestleMania match against Angle and Mysterio.
Okay, yeah, like
he's not the legend killer now. Now he's the Viper. I love that
yeah, I do like
progression in his career.
So yeah, it is different, but yeah, Randy Orton right now is just in his prime, man. Like he's done just about everything now this year. He won the U.S. title, became a Grand Slam champion. Like he's done it all, man, and he's got a good couple of years going. So yeah, keep that up. Okay, another guy, AJ Styles. Like,
how could you not name him?
Yeah, no, like I said, he is that kind of guy. I said this about Randy Orton. AJ Styles really is that kind of wrestler who can do no wrong. Everything he does, every match he has, he is giving it his all. He is getting over with the audience. He's getting his opponents over with the audience. Like, he wrestled a match with Chad Gable like just a couple months ago, and it was great. Like, it was great, and he put Chad Gable over as hell. So, yeah, AJ Styles is just one of those guys where there's a reason he's the phenomenal one. Everything he does is phenomenal. And you know, I've known who he was even before he came to WWE in the Royal Rumble. And I always wanted to see this guy in the big leagues because, like, he is just so goddamn good at everything he does. Like, he deserved to be a superstar like what he has become. And
yeah, I remember back when he was in TNA, when he didn't have the beard, he didn't have the long hair. He was still really good.
Yeah.
But long time ago, and to see him now is just it's incredible. But okay, so Becky Lynch, Orton, Styles.
Okay, another guy, Marty Scurll.
Mm-hmm.
Love watching this guy. He's just such an energetic character. I love his style. I really hold him. If there's any guy I want to see get called up to WWE right now, even if it's to NXT and then to the main roster, Marty Scurll. That guy is just fantastic at everything he does. He is such a larger-than-life personality, and I can easily see him in such a big league like WWE, even if it's just a mid-card role. Like, by God, he gives everything he does. A lot of big indie names know who he is, and take a lot from that guy. Like, he's definitely left his mark, and I'm sure it's going to get better and better as it goes.
He's been wrestling for a long time. He was in Europe for a very long time, and now he's kind of exploding more in the mainstream scene. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, one more. Who do I love seeing? One more. I'll say Cesaro.
Ooh, okay.
Like, another guy who I just don't think can do any wrong. He is just a pure, incredible athlete. You know, he doesn't seem human to me. Like, that's the crazy thing. Like, I can never comprehend.
Superman, yeah.
Yeah, I can never comprehend how strong this guy is. Like, he just effortlessly just lifts people and just, yeah, just like I said, like, he's a guy that can do no wrong. And I really love what he's doing with Sheamus. But somewhere down the line, like, I do hope he gets that big world title push. He's on SmackDown, and I know why he's with Sheamus. Like, they're over as hell as a tag team, and by God, they're great. But yeah, like, Cesaro, like, he is just spectacular, and I could easily see him in the position of a WWE champion, as a world champion. And, you know, he's multilingual, so, like, you can just easily, like, put him on a media outlet, and, like, he can represent that company great. I don't know what's happening, but, I mean, he's doing great right now, so, and by God bless him, my biggest thing is, as long as wrestlers have something they're doing, even if it's not great, like, as long as they got something to do, like, I'm just glad to see these guys. And I think some people should be happy with that too. I understand, like, you want to see these guys get bigger pushes. Like, in many respects, I can see why some people want to see Finn Balor get pushed. Like, that guy's so phenomenal at everything he does. But, you know, he's got something to do, and he wrestled a great match with Dolph Ziggler last night. So, my God. And Drew McIntyre's another one. I'll say that. Like McIntyre, like that's the kind of guy I want to see. Like I think they're pushing for that. Like right now, it's for Braun Strowman, and of course the title's on Brock Lesnar. So I don't know how that's gonna play out, but yeah. No, hopefully the Universal title is on Raw full time again, and I do hope McIntyre gets that because I've shared locker rooms with that guy. He is a really chill dude, and he is just amazing at everything he does. He's got that look, he's got that physique, he's got that mean streak, he's got the skill, the talent. He is just great, like everything.
Total package.
Yeah. He and Cesaro, definitely those two guys who are just spectacular. Like Cesaro, probably the most underrated talent right now, I would say.
I agree. I think he's always been under the radar.
Yeah, definitely that. He's tag team champion right now, so he's definitely a big
with the bar.
Yeah.
For some reason, the bar has Big Show now. I'm still trying to figure out how that happened.
Well, yeah, they needed someone to help compete with the New Day.
Yeah. But I get it. I always have someone doing something. I get it. Every wrestler needs to be doing something. And Big Show's still relevant. He's still around. Good for him.
Yeah, God bless Big Show. He's still hanging in there. He's in great shape now. I think he's below 400 pounds right now.
Really?
Actually.
I think he is, yeah.
I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, like Cesaro, definitely a very incredible talent. I hope great things come from him. And Drew McIntyre just killing it right now. I want to see that guy get pushed.
Now, you mentioned all these guys, but guys you didn't mention, and usually everyone mentions one of these guys in their list. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Kenny Omega.
Okay, I love those guys too. Like, I'm just trying to think on the fly here. But yeah, like Seth Rollins, Tyson Kidd said he's probably the best wrestler in the world, and I, in many respects, see where he's coming from. Rollins, another guy who could do no wrong. Dean Ambrose, spectacular talent. He kills every single time he's on screen. I love what he's doing right now with Seth. Kenny Omega, that guy's a destined for greatness star. Absolutely. He's going to accomplish great things. He's already accomplishing great things right now. He had a great match with Chris Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom. Another one of those guys who I am thoroughly convinced can do no wrong. And of course, Roman Reigns. Like, I've always been a fan of Roman Reigns, even though he's, up until, like, recently. Like Definitely, like, I've always been... I was always the defender of Roman Reigns before I got into this business. And even when I hear a lot of people say a lot of negative things, I always backed it up. And regardless of what you think, you cannot take away, like, he is just a monumental talent. He is thoroughly confident in everything he does. He has built a everlasting connection with the audience. And that is the most that anybody can ask for. He was always working with that negative reaction. It just made him a household name. That's what got him to where he is. And, of course, God bless him. I really hope he beats leukemia.
Definitely. He's beaten it before. He'll do it again.
Yeah, I believe that.
A classy move by I don't know who specifically organized it, but on the cruise, someone made a sign, "Get well soon, Roman," something like that, and everyone pretty much signed it, and it was on display. I think it was just on display during the pay-per-view that they put on for Ring of Honor. So that was a classy move by them.
They did, absolutely. And I think the entire wrestling world, because I saw the wrestling world on Twitter, just everybody wish him a healthy recovery, and I am glad, like, in many respects, I'm glad that it meant that this has brought out the best in people, even the biggest haters of him. Like, everybody's just wishing him a speedy recovery, and everybody's just showing their love for him. I don't know if you caught this at Warriors, but Jose did his big roar when he went for the 619, so... Yeah, that was a nice little tribute from what I was watching. I don't know how many people brought that up, but it was there.
When Jose did that, which night was that on? Was that on Saturday or Friday?
That was Friday when they were facing Darius Carter and Abdul Nasir.
Okay, so I was there for that. I'm trying to remember if I saw it.
I don't know, it probably slid, but it's on video. Like, you'll probably see it on the DVD or on Gumroad.
Cool.
It's there, but yeah. With that said, like, Roman, beat this man.
He's got this. Oh man, listen. You said a lot of great things about Warriors of Wrestling. You've commented on the wrestling world fantastically. You've been an amazing interview. Before we wrap this up, are there any last words that you want to say maybe to any prospective students at Warriors that, maybe just started off there or are thinking about joining? Any words of advice you want to put out there?
Well, to the guys that I see every week, I always, in our personal training private group on Facebook, I always write these little, like, inspiring messages on New Year's Eve. But I'll say that, guys, keep doing what you're doing. All of you are going to achieve great things. You're on the right path. You are probably, in many respects, probably more passionate about this than I was. I didn't think anybody could, but my God, like, I'll be humble and say these guys are probably some of the most hungry people I've ever seen. And, you know, that's the guys on the show. Anybody who's still in the training center, like a lot of younger ones, I won't say names, but keep your head in the game. Guys and girls, like, keep it up. Like, as long as you're in there every week and you're giving it your all, things are going to come. Everything's going to fall right into place. I guarantee you. And to anybody who is aspiring to be a wrestler out there, just keep chasing for it, guys. Like, I know everything might seem impossible, but, you know, I always live by the philosophy, nothing's impossible. As long as you have passion, as long as you work hard, as long as you give it your all and give more than that. Like, break your barriers and then break down the next barrier. Just keep it up, because there's nothing that can't be achieved. If you want this and if you work hard for it, you're going to get it. I promise you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the advocate for Jose Salvador, CJ Regina. He's passionate. Listen to his words. He knows what he's talking about. He's been doing this for a while. CJ, I appreciate your time.
It's great coming, man.
Thank you very much. Warriors of Wrestling has the 11th anniversary show coming up December 1st. Make sure you are there, folks, right? There's also a show November 24th. If this is up before then, my plan is to have this up definitely before the December 1st show. But be there. You could, maybe CJ Regina will be there. His advocate, Jose Salvador, will be there. I'll be there. But thank you guys for watching and listening. Share the show. And I got some more interviews coming up in the future. So, yeah, man, thanks for watching and listening.